Okay, well here we are with Paul Rucker, the artist. And Paul, why don't you tell us a little bit about your art?
Well, I've been having what I describe as visionary encounters with, for lack of a better word, gods, goddesses, archetypal beings since before I was old enough to talk. And my way of bringing the energy, the beauty and the profundity of the contact back into this world of here and now was by making art. I taught myself, basically. I'm self-taught, but it was a meditative discipline, and it was necessary. I wanted to make containers for that intense contact. It was happening in dream space, but sometimes when I was awake, you know. And I usually like to say the difference between the otherworldly reality and this one is like the difference between the color and the black and white scenes in the Wizard of Oz movie. It's about that profound.
Well, that's kind of cool. That explains why you use such brilliant colors in your work.
Yeah, in general, yes. It creates more of a sense of iridescence of light coming from canvas.
Yeah, and recently you've been doing some other things, working with rituals, and you even do personas.
Yes, and not just myself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in fact, I have gotten interested more in the last, I don't know, 7-8 years in body painting, in ritual theater and sacred drama as kind of like a crossroads for where, you know, ordinary performance and ritualist ceremony, so to speak, kind of meet. I'm very interested in that fertile place because the more involved I get in it, the more I'm coming to realize that that's kind of like an extension and immersion of the imagery that I make. In fact, the imagery that I make is figurative. It's always about the human figure in some way or other as a container for an expression of some aspect of divinity or of the supernal or the numinous experience. So in a way, when I look at my work, sometimes it's as if I've been doing renditions of characters from an astral theater. And
that's cool.
yeah, it's all about meaning. You know, one of the words I like to use to describe my work is Mythopoeic, because that means making myth.
Right.
You know, the word poiein from the Greek means making. So to be a poet or to be a maker means kind of the same thing in that root. And that's kind of important to me because I think that visionary artists and people who are working out of a spiritual context where they're not simply reinterpreting traditions are reshaping and recreating the mythical matrix in which we live. Even people who are not believers, so to speak, in gods or systems or whatever, we all have a mythical matrix of some kind or other that, unbeknownst to ourselves in some cases, many cases in fact, we live and move and operate in. There's certain myths in American culture, for instance, that are kind of the invisible backdrop. Spirituality and myth as a kind of an aspect of spirituality in a cultural context. These are containers for all of the other things that we do. Spirit is the container in an individual case for all the activity of your mind and your body and your emotions and so forth. It's the thing that brings them all into some kind of unity.
Right. So it's mind and body and emotions. The expressions you hear have are from something greater, but they're still embodied.
Yeah, yeah, and that's important too. And I guess that's when I have to give like a 2-word description of what I am, which is hard, but I usually say I'm a pagan mystic. The mystic part means I've got that one-on-one connection with divinity, with the great increate or the numinous or whatever you want to call it, that nobody is moderating. It's just me, you know, me and the divine lover, so to speak. The pagan part comes from the fact that for myself, pagan spirituality and culture, especially as it's being reshaped and reinvented and re-arted, let's put it that way, in this modern world. It is the thing that keeps my feet on the ground, you know, having a body with 5 senses, etc., and being a creature with creatural needs, and respecting that, being aware of that. That's kind of the underlying primal motive for putting these needs into a spiritual container that recognizes and respects it, which is what I think paganism basically is. You know, whether you approach it as, from the point of view of it's all one earth and let's love the earth, or whether you're more focused on the many and varied divine personas that show up as aspects of nature, or in some cases aspects of cultural personality. To me, it's a way of staying grounded in context with the reality of being in a physical body, and not as someone having dominion over the earth, but as someone who is working in a relationship with it.